Hey everybody, this is Jason Akers again with Akers Pest Control, and hope everybody's doing all right. Got chat open like always. I see there's one person in here right now. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here to answer any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be about bed bugs. I know the name of the show is the Bed Bug Show, but you don't have to ask about bed bugs. It can literally be anything you want to know. Doesn't even have to be about pests. It can be about just, hey everybody, lots of stuff. So whatever you have questions about, you can go ahead and ask those questions. So tonight I want to go over a book I wrote. So I wrote a book on how to do your own pest control, and it's free right now. If you go on to Amazon.com, it should be free. Let me check and make sure. So if I go to KDP, actually, let's do a, well, there we go, KDP. So all right. And we want to, oh, I didn't want to log in. Dang it. Let me sign out. Try it this way. Amazon.com/shop. Because it is there. Now, the only book that I could do for free, the only one they would let me do tonight for free, is the Troublesome Pest Solutions. So it's in my shop. And if you guys want to get it, I'm going to do like a read-along kind of and try to explain to you how it works. There's my link right there. And if you need the link, ask me. I'll post a new link. All you got to do is just let me know, hey, I don't have that link, and I will get it for you. So, all right, so I am just going to read along, and the reason I'm going to read along with, I'm wondering if I have it in Adobe. Let's see. So I wrote it, so I should have it. There it is. All right. So the way the book starts out is it's basically right into everything. It's my dedication I've got on page 1. There are actually, in the index, there are shortcuts. Let me just see if I can share it with you real quick. Let's see here. Oh, two, I want to, first off, the reason I'm doing these streams is to, and you know, I provide a lot of free information. So I give a lot of, like Alex is, or Alexander or Alex is asking right now, do wood chips attract carpenter ants? And is there any type of insect-proof wood chips available? Okay, so yes and no. All right, well, no and yes. Or, okay, wood chips, like wood mulch around the home, absolutely does attract carpenter ants. It attracts carpenter ants. It attracts cockroaches, like oriental and wood roaches. It attracts beetles, all kinds of beetles, centipedes, millipedes. It will attract spiders, including brown recluse, spiders that hunt for food, because if you're going to hunt, you go to where the bugs are. And if the bugs are in the mulch, that's where they're going to go. So the mulch attracts lots of bugs, not just ants. But the number one thing I think mulch attracts more than anything are termites. Now, termites eat mulch because mulch is decayed wood. So as it sits on the ground, even if you get treated mulch like they have at the like you go and you buy it from some mulch store or whatever, they'll have these piles that say, "Oh no, that's okay. This is treated. It's treated against bugs," and that's all fine and good. But as the mulch sits on the ground, that chemical treatment dissipates and it's not going to be effective forever. So understand that if you put mulch down on the ground, it's going to attract bugs eventually. It doesn't, that treatment does not last forever. Everybody who's ever had mulch knows that the mulch will actually decompose and rot, and you have to constantly replace it. So what I recommend is something like a rubber mulch. Rubber, of course, isn't eaten really by anything, and it looks just like wood. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I had a customer that had termites. He had really bad termites. They were tunneling up his concrete wall. He had a concrete foundation. So with eastern subterranean termites, the wall is like this. So if I had a diagram, let me just draw. I'll tell you what. I drew one last night. I'll draw one tonight. So with termites, you have your wall right here. All right, that's the best I can do. So this is grass, and this is the floor in your basement. So this is your foundation wall. With concrete, termites can either come up right here, and I'll draw a little. They can come up right here in this crack, and this is called the expansion joint. So every concrete floor has this. The expansion joint right here, where the floor is poured up to the concrete wall. There's a crack there. The termites can come through that crack. They can also come up, of course, from the outside. Most basements are underground. So all this area here is area that termites can come into your house through. But it's concrete, so they can't come up through the middle. Now, if you have a block wall, they can come up in this void right here. They can tunnel up inside the wall, and you wouldn't know they were there. But the way you treat it, because a house is on a footer, so the way you would treat in the block, you'd have to drill holes up above the grade level. So that means if the floor is down, of course that's underground. But what you would have to do is you would have to drill up here, because when a house is built, a lot of times they will backfill these block with dirt and concrete. And so you want to drill up the closest you can to the actual foundation. I say foundation, but the surface ground. So everything that's backfilled up to the edge of the wall, you'll want to drill in through there if you can. If you can't get it from the outside, you want to come maybe get a ladder if it's a basement, and you want to drill from the inside. If it's a crawl space, it's really easy because you just drill around the crawl space. You're practically laying on the ground. You just drill right there. But anyway, so the termites come up through those expansion joints. Now, when your mulch is over here and it's all rotten, the termites just come up and they eat the mulch and they get right into the house. So they're right there. They're right there, just inches away from your footer. And so they'll come in and they'll eat the floor of your house. What I recommend is rubber mulch. So this guy actually had them coming up in the expansion joint on the inside wall. They had tunneled up probably about 10 feet and got into the floor joists of his house. He had shelves built that were sitting right on top of the expansion joint, so that's wood right above the ground. And so as the termites come up, they get into that, and they work their way up, and they get into the floor. And they had actually eaten several holes through the floor above. He had nice hardwood floors. They ate holes through the floor. When I went outside, I said, I'm pretty sure the reason that the termites are attacking your house is because you have all this mulch. And he said, if you check that mulch is not wood. And I picked it up. You could not tell it wasn't wood. It did not look like wood. It looked like a really nice dark mulch. He still has the same mulch. That was over 15 years ago that I checked his house for him. So the mulch is still there. It doesn't rot. It lasts forever. So that's what I usually recommend. If you're going to use a mulch and you have to use wood, you'll want to use a cypress mulch. Now, cypress is a very light-colored wood, kind of like cedar. Now, cedar, termites will eat cedar. I've seen them get into cedar chests. I've seen them get into cedar closets. I've seen them eat cedar. They're not as likely to eat cedar wood as they are, other types of wood like pine bark mulch and stuff like that. But they will get into it. So the only type of wood mulch that I recommend is cypress mulch. And the reason that is because termites do not eat cypress. Other bugs and stuff will still live in the mulch because mulch still holds moisture against the wall and the foundation of the house, so that detracts bugs. but the termites will not get into the mulch. And that's what you really have to worry about when you're dealing with mulch up next to the house. Not so much carpenter ants. The reason that you would have to worry about carpenter ants is if your home has ever had a water leak, like a roof leak or a leakage around a window or maybe a door, the carpenter ants will get into those areas. So they will eat the supports for your roof, and they'll eat the supports. They don't eat it, actually. What they do is they tunnel through the wood and they spit it out. So if you've ever seen an ant farm, they're really interesting. So they got the 2 panes of glass and the dirt. It's filled with dirt, and they put an ant colony in there. And you'll see them. They'll make those little mounds of dirt, but they hollow out the tubes that they live in really, really good. They're very meticulous and very clean. So they don't actually eat the wood. They just tunnel it out. And you'll see sawdust and stuff around where the termites will spit the wood out. I mean, not termites, but ants will spit the wood out. If you have termites, what termites do is they actually eat the wood and they replace it with dirt. And that's lots of termites do that. Not just eastern subterranean termites, but also other termites do too. So you have to keep that in mind, that if you're seeing dirt and stuff piled up in the wood, that is not ants. That is something completely different entirely. Now, other bugs like wood borer beetles, powder post beetles, they will fill the wood full of like frass, which is like sawdust. It's almost like talcum powder, and because they're turning the wood into like a dusty talcum powder. And so you can actually bang on the wood and the dust will settle out from where the wood borers and the powder post beetles have gotten into the wood. But if you're noticing, if you're living in a trailer, and you have carpenter ants, then it's probably because you have water damaged wood somewhere, or you might have a tree in the yard. So what carpenter ants will do is they will get into trees. If you'll ever notice, if you're driving down an old country road and you're out in the woods and you look over and there's big huge hollow trees that have been fell in the woods, a lot of times the things that fell those trees are ants. So what happens is the ants do all that hollowing out. And yes, termites help some too, but most of that damage is done by ants, because ants live in the wood. And like I said, they spit everything out, so it's hollow on the inside. And so it's possible that the ants are in your yard, but they might be in a tree. So what happens with ants? Ants are so cool. I actually really like ants. I get excited talking about them. But what they do is they have what's called a mother colony. And just like mothers do, they raise their children and they send their children out into the world. So the mother colony raises small little independent colonies within herself. And what that colony will do is it will branch off and it will go out and it will settle into like a house or into another tree or, somewhere. And then they will communicate back and forth with the mother colony, trading off things they need like food and water. And what happens is as that satellite colony becomes more independent, it will travel less and less and less to the mother colony. But there's a trick. If you can cut off supply to the mother colony, like treating the tree that the mother colony is in, a lot of times you can destroy the satellite colony because it's not completely independent yet. And so you eliminate two colonies by treating the site of the mother colony. And so it's really important. I find that children are really helpful when I go out and I do work for people and I'm in their home and I talk to their kids. Kids are really little a lot of times, and I'll say, well, have you seen ants, little Jimmy, or whatever? And they'll say, oh, yeah. In fact, I had a little boy one time that actually took me all the way across his backyard and across a creek. And the tree had fallen over the creek bed, and it had created an artificial bridge, or technically not artificial. The tree just fell over and created a bridge. But in the stump on the other side of the creek was full of carpenter ants. And I treated the stump and I treated the tree, and the ants disappeared in the house. All the ants she was getting died inside the house. So she didn't have any more ants. It was completely eliminated. I asked the little boy, I was like, how did you know where the ants were? He's like, well, I was just playing outside, and I was following them, and I said, them ants. I'm going to follow them ants. And he followed them all the way down the backyard and found them. He's just like 4 years old. He's not old enough to go to school yet. And so he was playing in the yard and found the ants and said, I'm going to tell the bug man about the ants in the yard. And so he did. And then I killed him. So kids are really great. For just a tip for any exterminators watching me tonight. They are some of the most brilliant minds when it comes to pest control. And they've helped me so many. My daughter is little. I mean, she's 7, but she's been going with me off and on for about the last 2 years. She likes to go with Dad to work, and see what Dad does. And she really likes to go on bed bug work. And I did a house about 7 months ago, 7-8 months ago, and she went with me, and it was an Airbnb, and it had gotten bed bugs. And I was there for an hour and a half. I could not find the bed bugs. I looked everywhere. They had pictures they had taken with their cell phone. And so I knew they had bed bugs, but I could not find them. There was no poop on the bed. It was just somebody had come in and stayed the night and dropped them off. And so my daughter was there with me on the second time when I went back because my wife had to go to work. So me and my daughter went together. And in the first 10 minutes of being in the room, she had pulled over a seam on the mattress and found live bed bugs, where I had spent, like I said, an hour and a half doing the same thing, and I couldn't find them at all. So kids just have that really honed in, and they really love to make their dad look bad. And so it really works out really well to ask children for help. Don't just treat them like they're annoying, like they're a nuisance and they're getting in your way or whatever, and the parents aren't taking care of them or whatever. Just understand that they're trying to help too. So cypress wood mulch if it isn't rubberized chips. Correct, Alex. That's what I was getting at. So if you're going to use mulch around the house, use cypress. Like I was saying, I want to say this real quick. I want to get this said. But I'm doing this live stream to help people with coronavirus. Basically, people who aren't nurses, doctors, essential employees, people who have actually lost their jobs and can't feed their children. I do a lot of YouTube. I've been on YouTube for 3.5 years. I supply people with hundreds of videos, and all of it is free. You have as much information. I'm here to do with you tonight for free. I'm going to come on as often as I can, every night, as many days as I can. I've got a campaign running, and this is the shirt. I'll show you what it looks like. It's on the screen, but I feel like you really see it better if you go look at the picture. But if you go there, I sold one last night. Yay. I flipped out. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Somebody bought a shirt. But it helps people a lot. I really just like to help people. Honestly, that's why I have YouTube. I do all of this to help you guys out. I really enjoy the conversation I have with you guys. I have some of the best people watching me. I have the best audience. You guys are you really pick me up. There's a couple of bad ones out there that are just jerks, but that's everywhere. But most of my audience are just fantastic people. And even the pest control guys and stuff, they watch me, they talk to me, they call me up. I was on a podcast. A guy actually called me, and I did a podcast with him. And so it's just, my community is just really fantastic. And I said that if there's one thing that we can do, is we can do this. And so I started this campaign, and I thought it was pretty funny. So the front of the shirt says, I am essential. Now, my wife did that. I think that's kind of great. And she came up with that, with the hands kind of holding the earth. And it's just really good because we're kind of all in this together. It's not just the USA. It's not just China. It's not just Korea. It's not just the UK. It's everybody. Every single person in the world has been affected by this pandemic. And so this fundraising thing is to help everybody. It doesn't just help Americans. I'm an American. I believe in helping America. But there are so many people helping America right now. I feel like there's hardly anybody at all helping anybody else. And so there are people that are hungry all over the world. And so this goes to help everybody. And that's why I like it so much. I mean, it helps a lot of Americans too, don't get me wrong, but it also helps people worldwide. And so it's the front of the shirt says, I'm essential. And the back of the shirt says, if you can read this, then you're not 6 feet away. Because that's that little bitty text right there above the 6 feet away. And I'm pointing, and you can't see me pointing, but like right there, that text, it says, if you could see this, you're not, and then it's 6 feet away, and it's hashtag social distancing. And that's my joke. I think that's funny. I did that because I'm funny. I like to think I'm funny anyway. Most of my jokes fall flat. Most of my jokes make people mad. But I'm not trying to make people mad. I'm just silly. So, but anyway, I want to post this link actually over on Facebook. Okay, right. Let's see. I want to go to my page because I forgot to do this, and I remembered to do it last night, and I want to do it right now before I forget, so people on my Facebook can come in here and watch too. Because I like to tell everybody, hey, I'm doing this live stream. If you guys want to come and ask me questions, you can. Is diatomaceous earth good for killing carpenter ants? I've been thinking of buying it for that. Honestly, the only thing you need to kill carpenter ants, as far as inside your home, there are pesticides that are safer than diatomaceous earth. I know a lot of people promote diatomaceous earth. They say, oh, it's safe. People eat it. People use it for like a dietary supplement and stuff like that. And that's all fine and good. But the problem with diatomaceous earth, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse because I say this a lot. Diatomaceous earth is not safe for humans. It's safe to consume it. Ask your doctor. There haven't been any cases that point to it hurting people when you ingest it. But the problem with diatomaceous earth is when you inhale it. So when you use diatomaceous earth, if you can imagine a bag, as a mosquito done got in here. If you can imagine a bag of talcum powder, all right, now open the bag, and the stuff will puff everywhere. It's very fine. It's a very fine dust. And so when applying it, you need to apply it in a duster. It can be very harmful to you. And if you don't know what you're doing with it, you can actually hurt your lungs. You can aggravate emphysema. You can cause asthma. You can have an actual real disease from it called silicosis. Now, you can look this up. But basically, it's a silicate. So silicates are like, if you can imagine sand, all right, but finely ground like a dust. That's what silica is. So silica is sand. It's really fine particulate. And so what they do with diatomaceous earth, the bulk of diatomaceous earth is silica dust, and the rest of it is diatoms. And it's mixed in, and that's what they call diatomaceous earth. So, man, my nose is itchy. So when you take that and breathe it in, it's not good for your lungs. So if you're going to use pesticide in your house, don't use, I try to tell people, don't use something that's going to hurt yourself. Now, I use words. Now, I'm not what they consider politically correct when it comes to pest control speak. So a lot of people won't use words like pesticide, chemicals, toxic. These are words that are deemed as non-PC when you're in the pest control field. They're not politically correct because you don't want to scare your customer. But I tell people that I use pesticide and I use chemicals, but I explain to them what pesticides, what chemicals are. Not all chemicals are harmful. Not all pesticides are harmful. And not to people anyway. Pesticides work on an insect's biological system. They don't work on a human's biological system. They're designed to kill bugs. People will say, well, if it kills a bug, it's got to harm me, right? That's not always true. There are some chemicals out there that do not harm mammals, but they kill bugs because bugs aren't people. Bugs are bugs. People are people. Okay? They're a different creature altogether. And so there are pesticides out there that you have to be careful with that can harm you. But the pesticides that I promote and the methods that I try to teach with my channel, I'm trying to teach people do-it-yourself practices that are safe, that aren't going to hurt them. The problem with do-it-yourself pest control, and this is in the pest control field, this is why so many pest control technicians hate people that do it yourself, because do-it-yourselfers tend to break the label. They break the law. They're not held to the law because they don't have licensing. They don't have to worry about losing their license or losing their job. But so they just buy pesticides. They mix it however they want. The label says an ounce. They mix 3 ounces because they think more is better. And that's not the way it works. If the label says that you need to mix a half an ounce to kill ants, then you mix a half an ounce to a gallon and you kill the ants. You don't mix it too strong, because if you mix it strong, the government comes in and says, oh, wait a minute, he poisoned his cat. We're going to outlaw that chemical. Now no one can buy it, because that's the way the government works. The government works on knee-jerk reaction. So when you have multiple people going in and breaking label and poisoning either their children, themselves, or their pets, the government has to step in and say, hey, you can't do that anymore. That's not allowed. We're not allowing you to do that anymore. And they take the chemical not just from you, but they take it away from everybody. Me too. So that's why I have this channel. I have this channel to teach you how to do it right, so we can all benefit. Because the do-it-yourselfer is not going to hire me. They're not going to hire me. They're not going to hire any pest control. They're going to do it themselves. And so why not teach them how to do it right, so they don't poison themselves or their friends or their family or their pets, or heaven forbid their children. So Kingsley says, I don't have Termidor, but I have a formulation that has about 1% fipronil and a 500 milliliter volume. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, Kingsley. I really don't know what you're trying to tell me. I misunderstood your question. I'm sorry. You may have to reformulate your question a little bit. Harold Wilson says, you helped me get through bedbug trauma. Thanks for the crossfire tip. Oh, well, anytime. So that's what I'm here for. I just got on a tirade how I want to help people. But that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm trying to help people. I mean, look, see, this. I could be like Vanna White. I could be like, for those who don't know who Vanna White is, she's the lady that turns the letters over on the wheel. And so, anyway, some people don't know that, who Vanna White is. I don't know why they wouldn't, because anybody ain't never watched Wheel of Fortune. Man, you haven't really been living if you haven't watched Wheel of Fortune. Really? Seriously? No way. Yeah, let me see if I can do it right. We'll do it like this. I can't. The picture's covering up my camera. So, all right, so I'm not going to stream very long tonight. Night before last, I streamed for an hour. Last night, I was on here for a whopping 90 minutes. It was a long video. It was a long stream, and I was tired. Tomorrow, I got to get up really early. I'm making an exception. I'm still coming out. I'm going to try to do as much as I can during the month of April, because my campaign, let me see, it's only going for 25 more days. So I'm going to try to stream every night of the whole entire 25-day campaign. I don't think I'll be able to. I know I can't do it. I won't be able to do it Wednesday night. But I'm definitely going to try tonight and tomorrow if I can. So hopefully I'll be here to help you guys. So, but anyway, my book. I was going to read my book. So if you go, for those of you who don't have my book is free. I just like I said last night, I would post a link to the book, and now I can't find it. I'm looking through. I know I had it pulled up. Oh, that's because I had it in my Adobe. Let me see if I can get the link real quick. If I go to Amazon.com and go here, so I'll let you guys go to it too. So this is my store page, and that's where I sell like Crossfire and stuff like that. So I show people where to buy it. And then if you go to like either Bedbug Control Canada or Flea Control or Cockroach Control, the book's right there. It's like you could see it. It's right on the front page. And so let's go to Bedbug Control Canada. Let's click that. And then Troublesome Pest Solution Volume 1. That's the only one I can give away for free. It will not let me give the other one away for free right now. I don't know why. They both had free campaigns at the exact same time about a month or two ago, but they're allowing me to do the Troublesome Pest Solutions Volume 1 for free right now. And so if you click that and you go, you can buy it. You can read for free. It says right there, read for free. If you own, if you're Kindle Unlimited, so like if you have the Kindle plan, you can read it for free anyway. But you can also buy now with one click. So you could just buy it. It's $0. If you got Amazon, it's free. It's $0. So you can just buy it, get it, and buy it for free, and read it. So that's the book I'm going to read. I was going to try to share it. If I can share it, I'm going to try to share it. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this, because I want to read along with you, and I want to try to explain some things, and I think this could help people that want to get the book that don't quite understand what I mean, because I'm trying to write it as simple as I can so people that aren't PCOs or pest control technicians can actually read it and understand it, because a lot of pest control guys are going to read this and understand it anyway. Kingsley says, yesterday you did mention I could use fipronil to control subterranean termites, and it's termites pick up the residue and infect and eliminate colony. I'm trying to improvise. Yeah, I'm not sure. If it's breaking label, man, I don't agree with breaking label. I always say follow the label. If the label says to do it, do it. Whatever the label says, that's what you do. It's that's what you have to do. So let me see. Window capture. I think I can capture an actual window. And we'll add a source. And we're going to go with a new one. And we're going to call it window capture 1. Add source. Okay. Oh, see, there it is. And then we're going to go with Acrobat. Is that it? Look at that. That's amazing. I got it to work. All right, so pull that over here. Well, I don't want it to be all big. I want my chat to be readable. Let me see here. Let me click that over there. There we go. And then we'll put that. I don't know if you guys can read that. You may have to zoom in a little bit. I'm covering up my shirt. Okay, so there's my book. So what you see, I'll show you. I go to the top. All right, Troublesome Pest Solutions, Volume 1, Bedbugs, Cockroaches, and Fleas by Jason Akers. That's my name. That's me right there. All right, edited by Roy Forbes and Alicia Akers. So that's my kid and my wife. All right, and there's a little B&G dude that I drew. I drew that. I like to draw. Dedicated to my loving wife, Alicia Akers. I wouldn't be half the man I am today without her. Of course, she's the real show here. She's the reason I do what I do. So there's the introduction. So you got these links. So if you get the actual Kindle version, you can click through the links and you can go to all the different sites. There's actually a book that you can buy, the book form, the paperback, and you can use it as like a field guide if you're out on the job. But I recommend just getting the Kindle version. Most people can get a Kindle app on their cell phone and read this right along, and it's just the same as if you had a field guide with you. And so you got your introduction there, safety information. All right, so I'm going to go over this. All right, hey everybody, this is how I introduce myself in nearly all my YouTube videos. My name is Jason Akers, and I've been in pest control for over 30 years. A lot of people will look at me and exclaim, that's not possible. You are far too young, by which I explain that I'm second generation, and that my father opened his pest control business in 1985. So this is just a little bit of an introduction about me and my life and where I come from. And so here's safety information. Now this is a small book. It's very short. The reason I started writing these little books is because I feel like that anytime you want to get a pest control manual or a book online, they're like hundreds of pages. That's really daunting. And this is more of a This is just really cut and dry, simple, easy solutions for specific problems that you're having problems with and how to tackle them in the easiest way possible. I don't want people to pick up the book and say, wow, this is like 200, 300 pages. I don't know how I'm going to be able to deal with these bed bugs. And 40 chapters, and half of them are just like history of bed bugs and where they came from. That's not what this book is about. This book is just simple tricks on how I have been able to get rid of bed bugs and roaches and fleas. That's what it's about. So this is the front page. Should not be skipped. This is very important because I want people to see this. I want them to understand the contents of this book contain instructions on how to kill various insects. I have pesticide names and treatment methods that I have used in the past and had great success with. I always advise that you hire a trained professional when applying pesticides. I assume no liability for what is contained in this book, and if you decide to practice any of the information here, you understand as the reader, this is at your own risk. You have been warned. Pretty easy. You are about to apply pesticides. Don't be stupid. That's real easy. Just don't be stupid. Don't do something that you're going to regret. Don't poison yourself. Wear your protective gear. Make sure that you know your label. Read your labels. Always read your labels. Be very familiar with the label of the chemical. I tell people, and that's why I said, always read the label of any pesticide. The label is the law. You cannot tell people that enough. It is very important that you follow the label. You can poison yourself, your children, or your pets. Okay, I say this so many times in this book, and you'll probably get sick of it. Let's see if I can get up here. But it is very important that you listen to this warning. Pesticides are poison. They kill things. They can kill you. Pesticides can kill fish and pets and friends and family. Never, ever, by any means, go against the label. That's pretty plain and simple. Don't go against the label. Never. Many people will question me online through Facebook and YouTube about pesticide use. I always tell them to read their label. I cannot know every label of every pesticide in use. Some of the pesticides listed in this book may not be available in your area, but other alternatives may be available. And this is mainly because of Crossfire and Alpine, because they're not available everywhere. Be sure to check with local laws when applying pesticides. Never ever apply a pesticide to kill an insect that not listed on the label. For example, Crossfire is for bedbugs only and should never be used to kill things like fleas or spiders because they are not listed on the label. Never apply a pesticide to your skin or your pets. I know this should go without saying, but chemicals will absorb into your skin and enter the bloodstream. Once pesticides are inside your body, they can cause serious harm and even death. Never ingest or use pesticides on yourself or anyone you know. Don't ever do that. Don't do that. All right? Also, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I don't mind talking to people about bugs and stuff if you have a question. You know, if that's why you're here, you don't want to read, you don't want to listen to the book, that's fine. You don't have to. Ask me a question. Here, let me move this actually. I want to make sure that I can see if people are actually talking to me. So, all right. Always practice proper PPE, personal protective equipment. That's like something we hear all the time now with coronavirus. Everybody wants this PPE. Everybody's got to have the masks. Everyone's got to have gloves. Everyone's got to have protective gear. You should know what that means now. You should practice proper protective equipment. You need that. Every label will have a section where protective gear is listed for the application of the pesticide. Most pesticides require the wearing of long sleeves and long pants. These labels will also require the wearing of chemical-resistant gloves. Labels of pesticides are available online free of charge in PDF format. I recommend reading these labels and even the SDS of these products before ordering them. I know this book is a do-it-yourself guide to pest control, but if you ever have a question or a doubt about a pesticide, you should always hire a trained professional to practice pest control in your home. I love the freedom the internet gives us to be able to read and learn how to control various pests that invade our homes. But when applying a pesticide, you should always seek the advice of local professionals in your area. You could come under legal suit if you apply a pesticide in the wrong way. This is a warning for your own good. Please heed this advice. Okay? All right. Yes, actually, Alex just asked a question. I'm going to minimize this for a minute. And let me hide this window real quick. And I'm going to get over to this. Let me talk about this. So there is a chemical on my page. Where is it? Shop Green Acres. So if we go to my page, all right, and you go to, which is here, I'll post that again, because it's just easier for me to do it that way. I don't know how the thing's going to work. All right, so if you go there and you go to ant control supplies, what I recommend is Alpine WSG. That's what I use for ants. It works. It just really works really, really well. So you can go there. Oh, why, thank you, Harold. It says Harold just bought a shirt. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So let me get back to my book. So anyway, this is all really important stuff. This is why you really need to read your labels. It's really, really, really important. Now, I'm going to skip this section, even though I said not to, but I wrote it. But don't skip that section. So we get into cockroach control. So let me actually, I want to go Is there anybody in here interested in cockroach control right now? Because I was going to skip this section unless there was somebody in here that actually would like me to read this section. Because I will read it, I'll breeze through it and go over it. I don't have a lot of time. I kind of want it to be done in about a half an hour. It looks like I've been, how long have I been streaming for? 42 minutes. See, I say 30 minutes. I say I'm going to be here for 30 minutes, and here I am here for 42, and I'm just blabbing my mouth on and on and on and on. Guy makes me all excited because he says he bought a shirt on my page, which is fantastic. That's so awesome. Oh, share my video too. Share it around. This is free for everybody. It don't hurt. But any advice for a situation where a low-level bedbug infestation is dispersed and harborages can't be located? Okay, so what I do in situations where you cannot find, and that is a great question. Bran asked a really good question. Okay, so I'm going to read this thing about cockroaches because Tony wants me to, but I want to answer this question. The way you eliminate bed bugs when you cannot find bed bugs, you treat for bed bugs. All right. Ultimately, you have to ask yourself the question, does your customer have bed bugs? Now, the customer is complaining about being bit every night. The customer, it's driving them crazy. You cannot find the bed bug even yourself. I've had a couple jobs like this where you just could not find the bed bugs. I've went with my gut. I believed the customer. I did a bed bug job. And I explained to him too. I said, look, we can't find any bed bugs. We don't really know if you have bed bugs or not, but we're going to go ahead and do a bed bug treatment. It's a lot more expensive than a regular treatment, but it's what the customer wanted me to do. So I went ahead and did a bed bug treatment anyway. I treated with Crossfire. I treated the mattresses. I treated the box springs. I did the headboard, footboard, bed rails like you do. I treated the sofas, all that stuff with Crossfire. All right. 3 days went by. She had interceptors, which I told her not to put them on the bed because you want the bed bugs to crawl over the bed. That's the whole purpose of Crossfire, is business as usual for bed bugs. Don't put anything between them and the chemical. But she used interceptors. She found bed bugs in the interceptors, sent me pictures on her phone. So the bed bugs must have been living behind the baseboards where you could not see them. And so if there are bed bugs in places you cannot see them, and this is granted that you do not have access to a bed bug sniffing dog. Like, there are people that offer this service where they will have a dog come out and they will sniff for bed bugs. Sometimes they'll give you a false positive though. They'll positively identify bed bugs and it's not true. They don't have bed bugs. That happens. Not very likely to happen, but it does happen. So anyway, that's what I would recommend you do, is treat for bed bugs. Treat for bed bugs with Crossfire. Crossfire is a non-repellent chemical that doesn't hurt to do it. It works, and if the bed bugs are there, they die. So they may not have bed bugs. They may have a problem maybe with some mosquitoes biting them, or they may have problems with carpet beetles. You know, people have allergic reactions to carpet beetles. It is a real thing, and they look severe, like bed bug bites. You know, that's why we're in the business, in pest control, we're in the business of killing bugs, not identifying bug bites, because a bug bite is something that's different per person. Everyone is going to have a different reaction to a bite. So as far as bites go, you don't know what's biting them. And if you can't find proof that there's a bed bug problem, but they want you to treat for bed bugs, give the customer what they want. The customer's always right. That's my motto. The customer's always right. So that's what I recommend, Bran. That's what I've done in the past, and I have actually found dead bed bugs when I've come back. Even though I didn't find any live when I did the job, I find them dead when I come back. I'll flip the mattress up, I'll flip the box spring up, and I'll find dead bed bugs falling out of the box spring. So that does happen. Exactly. Spiders will bite you in your sleep. I had a customer one time that used to get brown recluse bites in his sleep. He had bites all over his back where he actually rolled over on one. And the reason they even knew it was a brown recluse is because he killed the brown recluse in the bed. But it bit him several times before he got off of the spider. and you had to go to the hospital and get antibiotics and all that stuff. So yeah, bugs bite you at night, not just bed bugs. Lots of bugs bite you at night. So anyway, cockroach control. So the following steps are to eliminate cockroaches. This how to may be a little long, but it's because there are many species of cockroach, and this is designed to help with all forms, local to Virginia. All right, because that's all I understand, is because that's where I live, is in Virginia. This how-to should also help with other forms of invader species of cockroach indigenous to other areas in the world as well. Should help, okay? To properly treat for cockroaches, we first need to identify the breed. All right, so I'm going to kind of skip through this pretty quick and get to the meat of it, which is German cockroaches. But identification. I don't have a lot of pictures because I want to use my own images. All right, so this is a picture I took of a German roach. German roaches are usually identified in the nymph stage. So that's a baby right there. When full grown, they are a light tan color and do not get any larger than an inch in size. I don't think I have any pictures of adults, because typically when I'm doing a roach clean out, I don't get any pictures of adults. I kill them. They're running all over the place and they're going into the wall. So sometimes when a female is carrying her egg sac, she may appear to be slightly longer than an inch. The picture shown in figure 1 is a German roach nymph, which is just another word for a baby. So a nymph is not a fully mature roach. It's not able to have babies. All right, there's an oriental roach. That's a picture of an oriental roach. I took that picture too. Oriental roaches, most of the time referred to as water bugs, but they aren't true water bugs. They enjoy sink drains, sinks, bathtubs. They like to be in water. They like water, wet, damp places. German roaches also like damp places too. Keep that in mind. A Pennsylvania wood roach. The Pennsylvania wood roach, or wood roach for short, is probably one of the most misidentified, most like German cockroaches, because they're tan, but they can be as large as 3 inches long. They also have true wings, which means they can fly. All right, people will call me and they'll say, I got roaches and they're flying all over my house. I immediately know it's wood roaches. It's not German roaches. It's not oriental roaches. It is wood roaches. Now, if you live in Florida or you live in Georgia, then you probably got palmetto bugs, because palmetto bugs are also roaches, but they can fly. But in Virginia, wood roaches are the only ones we have that can fly. They lay their eggs in rotten wood. So you don't have to worry about them infesting homes, because in order for them to infest homes, they have to have rotten wood source. They will infest mulch beds, like you were asking earlier about mulch. Wood roaches love mulch beds. Brown banded roach, normally found with German roaches. These are roaches that like to hang out together. Brown banded roach prefers to live in bedrooms, where German roaches prefer the kitchens and the bathrooms. They have little brown bands that are horizontal instead of vertical, and can also be an inch long when fully grown. So let me go back up to this picture up here, because I don't have a picture of a brown banded. I've only seen them very rarely. It doesn't happen very often. But this German roach, if you'll notice, he has 2 vertical black lines on their back. A brown banded roach has a band around the middle. So they're different. They don't look the same as a German roach. And that's a nymph. No, so as that roach grows wings, the head is the only part you'll be able to still see those little black lines. The rest of the roach will be tan brown, because the wings will cover its back and it'll be tan, like a light brown color. All right, so American roach is rarely seen at all. These roaches prefer very humid areas, love to infest steam vents and boiler rooms. They can be found in basements and humid areas of your home. American roaches are a reddish brown color and can be as large as 3 inches long. In the 32 years I've been working in pest control, I have only ever found American roaches twice. It's not very common, but they are awesome when you get to see them, because they are huge. They are just monster roaches. They're awesome roaches. All right, so this is the meat. This is the elimination. And I may have to finish this book tomorrow night. I'll probably save that for tomorrow night and go over the rest of it. But all roaches except brown banded and German roaches, okay? This is for all of them except German and brown banded roaches. Remove all people and pets from inside the house. Cover any fish tanks, because you don't want any chemical to get in a fish tank, all right? I even honestly, I should put this in the book. You should turn off the bubblers too, especially if you're going to fog or something. The fish tanks should really be out of the house. All right. A basic crack and crevice application of your pesticide works best for elimination of most all species of cockroach. an outdoor application, and I go over these. So this says crack and crevice here. You see how that's bolded and underlined? I actually have a glossary at the end of the book that actually defines all of these meanings. So if you see anything that's bolded and underlined, it is in the back of the book, and it explains exactly what that is. So crack and crevice means to treat in the cracks and the crevices of the home, to get your chemical to work in those cracks as best as you can. Get it in the crack, because that's where the bugs live. So an outdoor application of the pesticide around the windows, doors, and entry points is recommended because most breeds of roach come indoors from outside. A yard treatment is also recommended for wood roaches, especially if you live in a rural area with woods and heavy leaf clutter. Repeat treatment once monthly for excellent results. Wood roaches are seasonal and usually only come indoors during the spring and fall months. Be sure when you are treating outdoors to pay attention to dusk to dawn lights and porch lights because wood roaches love the light. Okay? They're the only roach that loves the light. They're not afraid of light at all. They like it. They're like a moth. They're attracted to it. German roaches. Remove all people and pets from inside the home. All right? Always do that. I always tell my customers, leave the house. All right? A basic crack and crevice application of your pesticide is advised to eliminate German roaches. Only with this breed, a very thorough application is needed. So, now, when I say this, I mean everywhere. If it's a crack, treat in the crack. You know, you don't treat people's dishes or their cups or their plates. You make people take everything out of their cabinets. Like I said, in order to achieve this one must remove all belongings from inside the kitchen and bathroom cabinets. So you take everything out of the cabinet because there are cracks inside the cabinets and inside the drawers. I went over this last night with a lady about her drawers, about bed bugs, because bed bugs live in the drawers of like cabinets and stuff. Roaches do too. This will allow one to treat under the sink basin and in the cracks that form where the cabinets are screwed, nailed, or glued together. I always say if you miss a crack next month, roaches will live there. Remember, German roaches love water and places they find water. If you have roaches living on your bedside table, check for a constant source of water, like a drink glass at night. Hey buddy, what is your take on empty and closets for bedbug infestation? Question comes up a lot. Okay, so like I get that question all the time. What do I do with my clothes? What do I do in my closets? What do I do with my dressers? What do I do with all these things? I tell people, because honestly, bed bugs produce a PTSD unlike anything I've ever witnessed. I used to think stink bugs were bad, but bed bugs have taken the cake. People hate bed bugs so much. They're so terrified of bed bugs. They think they're everywhere. It's like the boogeyman or the shadow monster, or in the dark, it's going to hide and it's going to get you. Okay? If you're worried that bed bugs are in your clothes, I'll tell you what I tell my customers. Wash and dry your clothes. If your clothes can't be dry cleaned, if your clothes have to be dry cleaned, like hanging clothes, and they're that important to you, are they really? Don't you want to get rid of your bed bugs? If you're that concerned and you really think that bed bugs are living in your clothes, then run them through the dryer and kill the bed bugs. That's what I tell people to do. If you're going to damage your clothes and you're that scared, then maybe the clothes can be thrown away. Maybe you don't need the clothes, if you're that worried about bed bugs. A lot of people kind of listen to me like, oh, well, I really don't want to throw my clothes away. Maybe I'll just see if things go all right with this crossfire treatment. Because I tell all my customers exactly what I use in their house, and I tell them exactly how it works. It's a non-repellent. The bed bugs are going to not... The thing about bed bugs is they're not going to say no to a free meal that's laying right there, and there's no barrier between them and the person, at least not when they can see. So they crawl out, and they bite them. They still get bit. People still get bit. I had a lady I did about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. She contacted me last week. Yeah, it was a week and a half, because she contacted me Tuesday last week. I just got back to her text message today. I've been so busy, and I forgot. It slipped my mind. I didn't text her back. She said today she hadn't been bit anymore. But a week ago on Tuesday, she was still getting bit by bed bugs. All right, so that happens with crossfire. That's normal. But now she's not getting bit at all. All right, the bed bugs have come out, they've done their business, they've crawled across the chemical, and they've died, and she hasn't had any more bites. That's how it works. And so I tell people, if there are bed bugs in your bedside tables, if there are bed bugs in your dressers, if you're really concerned about them being in like a box of shoes or something, sit the box of shoes beside the bed. Sit it nice and close. Don't let it touch the bed. Just sit it nearby. So the bed bugs can smell you and come because dinner's cooking, They're going to come out. They're going to crawl across the bed. They're going to die. So that's what I tell people to do. Not big boxes of tightly packed clothes, but like, loose things around the bed if they're really that considered, if they're that worried that stuff's going to be in that stuff. But as far as empty closets, treat the closet. You can treat the closet if it's empty. You can treat it with Crossfire. You can treat all the cracks and crevices in the closet and the baseboards and stuff and up around the especially if it's like those, what do you call them, the hanging doors. You could treat around the rim. I don't know what it's called. The little metal bracket that holds the doors up. You could treat those, treat the cracks in those and everything. But that's what I tell people to do. And it works. It works for me. That's what I do, and it works. So it works. So in order to achieve this, one must remove all belongings from inside the kitchen and bathroom cabinets. This will allow one to treat under the sink basin and in the cracks that form where the cabinets are screwed, nailed, glued together. Okay, I already read all that. Do not place items back in the cabinets until the pesticide is completely dry. Read your labels. The pesticide label will explain how long people and possessions need to be away from treated surfaces. Retreat once monthly or more often. If the pesticide label advises for at least 6 months straight, I advise as treatments. Oh man, I can't write or read, it seems like. All right, retreat once monthly. So basically do once a month treatment or more often if pesticide label advises for at least 6 months straight. I should have put a comma right there. Man, I'm editing my own stuff while I'm reading it. That's horrible. I advise as treatments must be done for 3 months after you see the last cockroach to ensure all eggs have hatched and nymphs have been eliminated. So people ask me, and the reason I put this paragraph in here is because people ask me, when do I know you've killed all my roaches? And I tell them, give me 3 months after you see the last cockroach, because that gives all the eggs time to hatch. Because sometimes, even though eggs hatch about once a month, sometimes an egg will last 2 or 3 months. And so I tell them, give me 3 months. And then if you haven't seen any more roaches after the 90-day period, the roaches are gone. So that's what I tell people. Typically, I get rid of roaches in the first 2 to 3 visits, and then they're gone. So typically it's 6 months. It's like half a year contract, basically. Only re-enter the home when your label instructs you to re-enter. So if the label says to be out for so long, don't come back in until the label says to come back in. And like I said, repeat that as often as you need until you stop seeing German roaches. Brown banded roaches is basically the same thing. It's really, really the same thing. But you need to take out, the difference is that you need to empty your dressers and your bedside tables of all your possessions. You need to treat in those too. Now, you don't need to necessarily do that for German roaches unless you find German roaches living in a bedside table. So if you go to the home and you see that someone is drinking water every night beside their bed, and like if you're a PCO, and you notice that someone is drinking water beside their bed every night, and there are German roaches living on that bedside table, or maybe they have sleep apnea, and they might have a machine there, like a bubbler, breathing machine, breathing apparatus, something to help them breathe at night. And a lot of those machines have water in them for the bubbler, so that will attract German roaches. German roaches will live in those types of devices. So take that into account. You might want to bait and stuff around those machines and things so that the roaches will eat that and die instead of living inside the bubblers. Treat inside your dressers, bedside tables where the boards are screwed, nailed, glued together. So basically the exact same thing as under the kitchen cabinets, under the bathroom cabinets, is you want to treat the exact same area for brown banded roaches. What do you think of roach proof? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look it up. Roach proof powder? Is it a powder? Delta dust? Tempo dust? Is that Tempo? Or what is it? Boric acid? I'm not sure exactly what it is. There's lots of different names people have for different stuff. Depends on what gets the product sold is how they name it. They'll say roach proof, and you'll look at the label and it'll say boric acid's all it is. Treat inside your dressers, bedside tables where the boards are screwed, nailed together. Okay, so do not place possessions back in this furniture items until your label tells you can. So basically, if the label says to leave things empty for 2-3 hours, leave things empty for 2-3 hours until it's dry. Don't put stuff back in there. Don't get chemical all over your belongings. Only re-enter the home when your label instructs you to re-enter. So, pesticide options for roaches. Now, every chapter has this type of setup. So at the end of the chapter, it says baits, all right? I think boric acid is very effective for cockroaches. I think boric acid, I'm actually going to go over boric acid in a minute, but baits. Okay, so gel baits are advised for German and brown-banded roach infestations. Only use baits in cabinet cracks or around sink basins. Be very careful not to spray these baits with any pesticide. Would you want bug spray on your food? If you treat baits with pesticides, roaches will not eat them. The way that bait works is the roaches have to eat it. That's the way it works. So if you spray it with pesticide, they're not going to eat the bait. A good gel bait is Advion gel bait. So there's another one of those that's underlined and bolded. So that's actually in the glossary. And there's a link to that and everything to show you what it looks like. For roach control, always purchase your baits in an online store. Try to purchase a gel bait that is not sold to the general public. So the reason I say to try to purchase from an online store is because if you can get the bait at Walmart or Dollar General, then everyone else is getting the same bait from Walmart and Dollar General, and more than likely your roaches are going to be immune to it. So do not buy a bait that is sold to the general public. Don't buy that crap. That crap doesn't work. All right? It doesn't work. That's why it's at the store. It doesn't work. Okay, so sprays. Alpine WSG is what I recommend for the treatment of all roaches. Not just German and brown banded, but all cockroaches. It works well indoors and outdoors, so it will control the roaches listed here in this chapter. Foggers or bug bombs are never recommended for the treatment of any type of roach. I never ever recommend fogging or using a bug bomb for cockroaches, ever. There are so many better chemicals out there and so much cheaper alternatives. Do not buy bug bombs. They are a waste of money and they will make you sick. All right, do not buy them as they are a waste of money, and get pesticides on everything you own. Everything you own will have pesticides on it. The whole point of this chapter is to keep pesticides off your things. That's why you clean out your dressers. That's why you clean out your chest of drawers, because you don't want pesticides on your stuff. Doing a fogger is going to do that exact opposite. It's going to put chemical on everything you own. Okay? Granules. Granules are advised for outdoors. Okay, so these are like lawn granules you could buy in like a lawn and garden place. Like that, so you treat it on the ground. It looks kind of like fertilizer. You treat it on the ground to kill bugs that cross over the ground. It only activates when it rains or when it's wet. So you have to hose down the yard after you apply granules, and it puts a pesticide on the ground that kills the roaches when they try to crawl into your house. This is most effective on things like wood roaches, oriental roaches, and bugs that come from outside, not necessarily German and brown banded. Typically, German and brown banded roaches live inside only. Dusts. All right, so this goes over the question that Harold just asked. Dust is rarely recommended because Alpine WSG works so well, but if a dust is needed, boric acid dust is recommended and can be bought at Walmart and even your local grocery store. Follow the label and use very sparingly. I tell people, if you can see the dust, you have used too much. A lot of people will take dust and pile it up like little piles of snow all around the areas they don't want bugs to go into. That does not work. Boric acid is not a repellent. It is not a pesticide. Okay, it is a dust that when the roach crawls through it, they pick it up on the pads of their feet, and then they ingest it when they clean themselves. They lick it off, they ingest it, it gets into the digestive tract, and it kills them that way. So you cannot kill roaches unless they eat the dust. Now, there are some baits out there that have boric acid as an active ingredient. If you read the labels, a lot of them will have boric acids right in there. That's what they're using to kill the roach. So they trick them into eating this food that they like that's got poison in it. So that's how it works. Boric acid dust, the way I tell people is it's like if you're walking through a blizzard and you get to pick two pathways. One is 6 foot of snow and one is 6 inches. You're going to walk through 6 inches of snow before you walk through 6 feet. All right, the roach, if you're small, little tiny like a roach, and you come across a boric acid pile like this tissue right here, all right, and that roach is little like this, they are not going to go across that pile of boric acid. They are not going to do that, all right? You need to use next to none. I mean, you shake it up real good and you just poof, and that's all you need, really. That's what's effective on roaches. It doesn't seem like it because a lot of people believe that more is what you need, but really in dusts, less is more. Less works better. So tomorrow night, I'm going to go over flea control. I can't do it now. It's already 10:15. I got to get up early tomorrow and work, but because I'm essential or sacrificial, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I got to go to work tomorrow. So I want to go over one more time because that's how I closed my show out last night. Is I want to talk about the shirt. I want to talk about why I'm streaming every single night, because I typically don't stream, maybe once a month if you're lucky, but I just don't do this very often. But I'm doing this for social distancing. I'm doing this for coronavirus. I'm doing this to try to help people that really need the help. And I'm coming on here and I'm giving you all this information for free. And the least I ask is just to buy a shirt. You don't have to buy a shirt. I'll still do this. I like to help people. I know a lot of people who watch my channel can't afford the $20, but it's a $20 shirt. It's on the front. If I can hide this, it says I'm essential. My wife designed that with the hands, the little world and stuff. And then I did the back, and it says, if you can read this, then you're not 6 feet away. Hashtag social distancing. It doesn't have my logo on it or anything. I don't care if people know I made the shirt. The point is that it gets the message across, and it helps people who really need the help. You guys have a really great night. I really appreciate it. I think we're going to be fine. I don't think the coronavirus is going to kill us all. I think we're going to be great. But until then, I'm going to be here every night. I'm going to be teaching you guys about pest control. I'm going to read my book, and we'll go over flea control tomorrow night. And like I said, let me give you the link one more time to my store, because the book is free. It's free. It's free. It's only free this week because Amazon will only let me put the book up for free for so many days. It's 5 days. That's what they tell you. And I'll show you if you want to see. I'll show you. But they tell you right there, you can only have it up for free for 5 days because they're hosting the book. And it's not free for them to host the book. So get it now while it's there. It's free. Free book. Free, free, free. And then the shirt, if you want a shirt, is... I'll go ahead and post that too. It's right here. You guys are wonderful. I love my audience. Can't wait to talk tomorrow night. I'm actually having a time streaming. I love to do this with you guys. But y'all have a really great day. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.